Okay, so every 3 months, I put out a blog post ranking everything that I watched during the anime season. Today, I decided to continue that tradition as a YouTube video instead. However, I have an unforeseen problem I'm facing. YouTubers tend to take breaks on January due to significant drops in ad revenue. Hold on. Let me put up an image to describe what this means. That's usually because the holidays were super busy and people are going back to school and people aren't going to watch YouTube videos. So that's a bit of a problem. I mean, I'm not able to make money. I have 2 subscribers at the moment I'm recording this, but I don't want to start a bad habit. So therefore, this means that I have to record, edit, and post this video in the next 3 days. Do I have to? No, shut up. I'm going to do it anyway. This intro sucks. Let's just move on to the rankings. Okay, first up, shows I did not watch this season. One Punch Man Season 3. The reason I didn't watch this, dog, I'm not watching Season 2. I'm not watching Season 2. Do you really think I'm going to watch a full season of disappointment just to be disappointed again? Nah. Also, I scrolled down by accident. This is going down here. Other show I didn't watch this season. Spy Family Season 3. I want to keep my weekends light. This aired on Saturdays. You know what else aired on Saturdays? My Hero Academia final season. I needed to fight the demon before I watched something that was actually worth my time. So, you go down here. Now, shows that I only watched 1 episode of. There were a lot of them this year, but I'm only going to highlight this one, which is My Status as an Assassin Obviously Exceeds the Heroes. I don't remember much about this besides it being edgy isekai slop, but there's a line in here in the show that says, you may be an assassin, but that doesn't mean you're obligated to murder. Bro, what do you mean? What do you mean, dude? You're an assassin! That's what they do, they kill people! Whatever, I just thought that line was funny. I tried to find a screenshot of it online somewhere, but, all I got was this. Now, you can do with this information what you will, because I don't know what this information means at all. Next up is One Piece. One Piece...
You want to watch One Piece next?
No, Alexa. One Piece... Oh, right, I didn't watch it. I watched every episode of One Piece that aired in 2024. Not a great experience. If nothing cool is happening on screen, then the show can be a drag in its pacing. But it's a great addendum to the manga. Also, this is going to be my first Sakuga highlights section, where I will shout out certain episodes that have good animation in it. It is totally not my decision. It's just stuff that popped off on Sakugaboru and nothing else. Those highlighted episodes are episode 1151 and episode 1152. Okay, now we can get into the actual rankings. Let's go. First up on the... Get out of the way. First up on the list is Pass the Monster Meat, m'lady. Monster what? Headslop. It's a joke about street people. Said mostly as a joke towards heterosexual relationships in media, which is most of them, hence the joke. I might be too straight to say this. Pass the Monster Meat, m'lady is categorically headslop. Why is everything gray? The whole concept of finding ways to eat monster meat is sidelined by an insufferably bland romance fantasy plot. Like, this isn't Dungeon Meshi. This is just that clip of that beast. It's that clip of... You know, I'm just going to play the clip.
Who are you? I think I love you.
The characters do look cute, but it suffers the same fate that a lot of lower budget anime tend to face, where they're drawing the characters really nice in the main keyframes, but when it's like a medium shot or a shot that isn't as important, it just has so much potential to look bad. Visually, it's just not there. It failed so hard at grabbing my attention. I could not pay attention if I tried. When I watched it on my phone, I had it in like picture-in-picture mode. Just could not focus on it entirely by itself. It was so boring. I could not take it. The art's cheap, the animation's cheap, storyboards are boring, there's no conflict. Whenever there is conflict, it's resolved in the same episode it's introduced. It's boring. It's head slop. It's head slop. Ah! I don't want to scream too loud. Why do I keep watching the bad shoujo? Why can't I watch like Princess Tutu? No, I had to watch the one where the pretty lady gets the pretty dude from the arranged marriage. Oh man, I wish that happened in real life. And I will say, main girl does look cute in this dress in that final episode. I don't know why I wrote the word boobs in my notes, but this show has no direction at all. I cannot begin to tell you what audience this was meant for besides women that want to be this girl, but it's bad.
1 hour later.
Okay, so you're probably wondering why the orientation's so different now. Turns out I recorded an entire video and none of the footage saved. I don't remember what I ended this on. This show is boring. This show is boring and dumb and belongs into the abyss of nothingness. It sucks. That's my final verdict on Past the Meat, m'lady. Past the Monster Meat, m'lady. That would have been a different show if it was just meat. Anyway, moving on. Dusk Beyond the End of the World. I only watched 4 episodes of this, the prologue and the first 3 episodes after that. I'm only including episodes that I've watched at least 3 episodes of, because at that point I've already watched an hour's worth of content. I think I can tell where the show is going to go past that point, or maybe not, depends. Either way, Dusk Beyond the End of the World, I only have 2 notes. One is, I'm still not sure if this show is pro or anti-AI. You'd probably know what I mean by that if you watched the prologue. Second note is, the prologue soured my opinion on this from the start, so I ended up criticizing this from every angle before dropping it entirely. I might pick it back up again, and actually, no, I don't care that much. I actually just don't care that much. I'm putting in D. I just don't want to think about it. It's not... AI sucks. I don't care if you're trying to find a good reason for AI. If your whole character's trying to make an AI companion, I don't care. We got ChatGPT killing kids. I don't give a Just kill yourself. No, actually don't do that. That would be very counterintuitive of what I'm trying to say here. I'm not in the mood to be nice about it. This show just gives me bad vibes. Anyway, My Hero Academia final season. I used to love MHA. It was my gateway to modern shonen, and it showed me a world I can easily get lost in. Even when everyone started trashing on the series around Season 4, I stood my ground and defended the quality of the series. Yeah, the adaptation of the My Villain Academia arc in Season 7, yeah, it wasn't good, but trust me, it was good in the manga. They just didn't show that one scene where the villain was introduced. But then, when I started reading the manga that portrayed the events of Season 6, something kind of changed. I started asking a lot of questions throughout that portion of the manga. Without any spoilers, here's some questions I asked, such as, if this series isn't going to end for a while, why does this arc feel so final? Wait, he's not dead? But that went straight through his... Wait, she died instead? She barely did anything. What's the point of her death? It's the apocalypse and you guys are rioting over Twitter drama? He's Batman now. I mean, I guess that fits, but still, I will add this that isn't on my notes because I should have added it before. It feels like a lot of what I loved about My Hero Academia is what it was building to, and a lot of what it was building to just didn't land in the end, which sucks because this was a very important part of my life. I finished high school and I immediately started watching My Hero Academia, and I was like, damn, that's cool. Like, these people lived the life I just lived for 4 years, but they were super powered and they trust each other and love each other and stuff. I wish I could have that, but now it's just crumbling under its own weight. The social critiques, the character writing, the motivation of the main freaking villain, everything just went to the toilet. It just, I'll get into like my thoughts in the final episode when I'm done talking about my whole spiel on this season as a whole, but the final season gave me a twisted sense of catharsis that this series would finally end. It just felt like Horikoshi, nothing that he did post season 6 felt like it needed to be there. It just felt hollow, and I wish I could say I'm nostalgic for this series, a show that encouraged me to do my best to find more shows like it, but instead I just see a sick dog gnawing at its own leg. As frustrated as I am to the final stretch of this anime, it's at least not going out with a whimper. Sakuga highlights episode 167, and more importantly, 162. Okay, now that we're back, some quick pros and cons to the final episode. This is from the original manga, and this is from the final episode. This is funny. I like this panel a lot. It's very jank, but I like it a lot, and I like how they adapted it in the final episode. I think that's cute. I also think the Where Are They Now segment at the end was also cool. The cons of final episode, why did Deku get a support item at the end to continue his hero work? That's bullshit. It would have been more emotionally resonant if he stayed quirkless and decided to use his experiences to raise the new generation of heroes, but no, he was given a new Iron Man suit because he earned the chance to continue hero work. Fuck off. Next up, we got Yano-kun's Ordinary Days. Only watched the first 7 episodes, so do not take this ranking too seriously. Not gonna lie, the girl falling in love with the klutziest man alive is pretty cute at first. However, by episode 3, I noticed that Yano was still being portrayed as this small being that needed to be protected, even though it was established that he was surprisingly sturdy and athletic despite having paper skin. They treat Yano like he's a helpless child, even after episode 5 when it specifically calls out his friend group for treating him like said child. He's so infantilized that he's barely a character, he's just a gag. I don't know why I went so hard in these notes. I will say I do appreciate that the main relationship does develop a lot faster than other anime romances. I will give this show that. I also like the art style quite a bit, and the character dynamics are cute enough to be interesting. But honestly, after I dropped it, I kind of didn't feel like wanting to return to it. It's cute. Next up, Star Wars Visions, Volume 3. I wasn't expecting to see sequels of any of the shorts from Volume 1, but I'm just happy at those attempts. I don't think the sequels to those old shorts were necessarily that great, if in my opinion, at least not compared to what they achieved before, and the new stories are hit or miss. Personally, weakest volume of Visions so far, but the final short, Black, is possibly my favorite short out of this entire anthology series. It's directed by legendary animator Shinya Ohira. The man, the best I could describe his animation style is if you took a pencil sketch and then turned it into a river, if that makes any sense. That short is really trippy. It's barely coherent. The most I can glean from it is that a stormtrooper is fighting himself or his own demons while he's stuck on an exploding Death Star. My dad watched it with me. He didn't get the appeal. That's fine. But honestly, weird stuff like that is needed in the Star Wars universe right now. This franchise has become so stagnant, and I don't want another Disney Plus show about a Clone Wars character I don't remember. I just don't care. Next on the list is Digimon Beat Break. This is my first experience with Digimon. It's pretty fun. Megumi Han is voicing a character named Geckomon. She plays a good gremlin type character. That's all I have to say about it. Only watched 3 episodes, had to drop it because I wanted to keep my weekends light and wanted to focus entirely on My Hero Academia for some reason. Maybe masochism could be the reason, I don't know. Beat Break was fun, and I might come back to it later. I don't know for sure. I did enjoy it. Next up, we got Tatsuki Fujimoto 17 through 26. As the name implies, this is a compilation of anime adaptations of Tatsuki Fujimoto's one-shots from ages 17 to 26. All of these are before his work on Chainsaw Man. It's not as strong as I think people are saying it is. Some shorts are good, some shorts are kind of not. Some of the stories Fujimoto wrote in this anthology, depending on the age, you can see what was going through his mind, but you could also kind of see him developing as an artist and a storyteller. As amateurish as some of the storytelling can be on this, there is something about Fujimoto where he'll find a way to find an emotional connection to the viewer in the most unlikely of places. And that's something I really appreciate about his work. Next up, Ganglion. If you haven't heard of what this is, understandable. It's not available on any official streaming platforms at the moment, as far as I can tell. And every episode is only 3 minutes long. And it's a weekly airing show, so honestly, best to wait and binge it all in one sitting. However, I want you to trust me on this. This is something special. I know that there's 12 episodes out now, and doing the math, that's only 36 minutes of your time. That's an episode and a half of your time that I'm trying to say is A tier. Trust me, it is fun. This is a story about a minion for old Tatsunoko villain who gets his ass kicked every Tuesday or something by Hope Man, and it's just depicting life as a grunt for a Super Sentai show, just portrayed like it's salaryman bullshit. And it's honestly kind of awesome. Same director as Komi-san, Summertime Rendering, soon to be Witch Hat Atelier, and the level of quality in both the art and comedy in just 3-minute bursts is legitimately compelling. Maybe in terms of animation, it's not too consistent. Episode 2 kind of is the peak of the actual animation part of Ganglion, but in terms of the drawings, the compositing, shading, it's really good for something that seems like a low budget project. And honestly, I just can't wait to see Witch Hat Atelier if this man keeps putting out good shit. Next is Gachi Akuta. I watched the first 2 episodes at AX, labeled it as not my thing, and moved on. Then I saw some clips from episode 13, and I kind of wanted to go back to it, and it was honestly worth it. If this gets pushed as hard as My Hero Academia did, there's a potential that this could be like the next big thing. The whole series is about characters who are going through this world full of trash and turning their prized possessions into weapons. The main character comes from a place called the Sphere, which has its own community of like rich people and the quote-unquote criminals or the poor people or something, and there's discrimination. The kid gets thrown into the abyss, but he lands on the other side of the abyss alive, and in the trash heap world finds new friends, discovers more about the world, about his own past. A lot of interesting lore going on, but it's also, the show's just really funny, kooky, and sometimes dark, and moody. It's just fun. It's a fun show. I heard this adaptation's less stellar compared to the manga. I'm sure that's true, and I do agree with the sentiment that this should have been done by Studio Trigger and not Bones. But Bones was definitely a good second choice because of the facial expressions and the general sense of action definitely seemed to be up Bones' alley. It knows when to be funny. It knows when to talk about serious stuff. Definitely wears its influences on its sleeve. And by that, I mean the mangaka Kei Urana was an assistant for Atsushi Okubo, who is the mangaka for Fire Force and Soul Eater. Okubo himself considers her his successor. So this series that tries to have fun in macabre situations and revels in that fun definitely reminds me of what I've seen from Soul Eater, so that's really cool. Character designs are badass. Black characters are in here quite a bit, and they're well represented. There are hints of something larger in play, potentially Lovecraftian, I don't know, but there's a lot of cool lore moments within this series. The final stinger was incredible. Honestly, I just really loved it. Final Sakuga highlight, episode 21. Alright. Final anime. Drum roll, please. Wait. Hold on. Hold on. Wait a minute. You want screw it. It's Sanda. Sanda's my favorite anime of this season. Sanda drops us in a world where youth is valued more than anything else. The concept of aging has become so feared that adults are willing to sacrifice their own humanity for the sake of regaining their youth. It's a world that discourages the young from growing up, mistaking the inevitable from the preventable, interrupting the course of life to relive what life used to be. They say that nostalgia is a common tool for fascism, and this is a world obsessed with its past. So, I bet you're wondering, is that Santa Claus? Yes. Santa, the character, is a champion for the young. He's not an ideal to be reached, but he's a mark of what it means to grow up. Santa Claus, in this world, was brushed off as a myth and is no longer really celebrated in the world of Sanda. But Santa Claus being real in this world turns him into a symbol of how adults should be treating their children. They're not here to protect them all the time. They are here to protect them, but they're also here to let them grow up, to let them be their own person, to let them learn to be adults and not be afraid to be an adult. Like, 14-year-old Sanda having the ability to turn into the buffest Santa Claus you've ever seen does lead to some fun moments, especially when adult responsibilities end up blending in with his middle school life. Being able to turn into adult made him learn how to live his youth properly. And that's just really cool. There's also a quote, I don't want to spoil what this is about. There's nothing to be afraid of. We're all the same. We're all getting older. You're changing too. Aging is horrifying, but it's something we all go through. There's a villain in this series who is a 92-year-old man who hates adults. He is obsessed with youth to the point where he Botox his entire face so hard he has to use a cane to make himself frown. It's horrifying, and there's a very funny quote where he says, "I reject your respect for elders." Despite him being 92, he just does not want to believe in being old, and it's very clear that this is a character portrayed as not human. Because as horrifying as aging is, again, it's something we all go through. Treating aging like it's a sin, like it's something to avoid, it's just going to make things worse. It's the law of nature. We shouldn't break it. We should accept it and appreciate the time that we have, as well as support the next generation when they do the same thing. We can't raise children if we can't grow up ourselves. And we're adults. We kind of need to do that. There's only one main criticism that, honestly, if we were comparing Sanda to the S tiers of every other season this year, would not hold up. This is more of a high A, an honorary S tier. The main criticism I have is that the Battle Shonen format does not work, in my opinion. I think it's just kind of awkward. It is cool to see Santa Claus grow skis out of his feet and then attack enemies like their blades. That's really fun. I like the fact that they turn the fact that he enters through a chimney and reworks that as he's fireproof, so you could see him walk out of like a burning building carrying someone and it'll be cool. But because he's Santa Claus, he can't really kill anyone. So he's just stuck fighting some schmuck, either the old guy that I mentioned earlier or this one bounty hunter who's also kind of screwed over by this system that hates people who are like 50 years old like him. But these fights don't really go anywhere. They end pretty abruptly and weirdly. I think if this show focused less on the fights and more on exploring the world it's living in, it would have been like a certified hood classic. If I was going to choose anything to be S tier this year, it would have been Sanda, but I don't think it would have been if, like, let's say, Reze Arc, Chainsaw Man movie, came out in October and not September. Like, I think like it wouldn't have been S tier if that was the case. Anyway, still the best anime this season. That's about it. I hope you liked this video. I hope I'm not too much of a bummer. I hope I'm not too much of a disappointed Deku right now. But honestly, I just hope you enjoyed this. Leave a like, leave a lick, subscribe, hit the bull.